Okay, we will start. Mm. Mm. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ प्रपञ्चसृष्टिन्मुकलास्य कायै समस्तसंहारकताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपित्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां हरिः ओम्। जलधिमतनदक्षौ नैव पातालभेदी न च वनमृगयायां नैव लुब्धः प्रवीणः अशनकुसुमभूषावस्त्रमुख्यां सपर्यां कथय कथमहं ते कल्पयानीन्दुमौले पूजाद्रव्यसमृद्धयो विरचिताः पूजां कथं कुर्महे पक्षित्वं न च वा कीटित्वमपि न प्राप्तं मया दुर्लभम् जाने मस्तकमङ्घ्रिपल्लवमुपाजाने न तेऽहं विभो न ज्ञातं हि पितामहेन हरिणा तत्त्वेन तद्रूपिणा अशनं गरलं फणीकलापः वसनं चर्म च वाहनं महोक्षगः मम दास्यसि किं किमस्ति शम्भो तव पादाम्बुजमक्ति भक्तिमेव देहि यदा कृताम्भो निदिसेतुबन्धनः करस्थलाधकृतपर्वताधिपः भवानी ते लङ्घितपद्मसम्भवः तदा शिवार्चास्तव भावनमक्षमः नतिभिर्नुतिभिस्त्वमीश पूजा विधिभिर्ध्यानसमाधिभिर्न तुष्टः धनुषा मुसलेन चाश्मभिर्वा वदते प्रीतिकरं तथा करोमि वचसाचरितं वदामि शम्भोः अहमुद्योगविदासु ते प्रसक्तः मनसा कृतिवीश्वरस्य सेवे शिरसा चैव सदा शिवं नमामि। Shivananda Lahari, the work by Shankaracharya, Adi Guru Shankaracharya, we have almost come to the end. Acharya has done different types of works. We have the Bhashya Grantaha, the Dashopanishad, Brahma Sutra, Gita Bhashyam. Then there are Bhashyas for the other, Lalita Trishati, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Sajat Sunachi, Sujatiya, Sanat Sujatiya, Hastamlakiya, like that. Then, of course, there are these Prakarana Granthas, Viveka Chudamani, Prashnottara Ratnamalika, Ekashloki, Dashashloki, but like that, there are so many Prakarana Granthas. And of course, finally, there are quite a few stotras of those. In fact, irrespective of whatever work of his you take, you always find that at the end of the day, Acharya is talking about only the Advaita Siddhanta. Whatever he does, finally, it is all about Advaita Siddhanta only. That is his Mula Uddesha. So even in Shivananda Lahari, as we have seen, while it is a grantha which emphasizes on bhakti, still there is enough Vedanta Chintana. Because at the end of the day, the bhakti we need is also for Swaswarupa Anusantanam Bhaktiritya Abhidhiyate. One has to know one's own true nature. Even the bhakti has to lead us finally there. That's why he said Moksha Samagriyam Bhaktireva Garisi Swaswarupa Anusandhanam Bhaktihi iti Abhidhiyate. Therefore, it is not surprising that even in a Bhakti Grantha like Shivananda Lahari, you have Vedanta Chintana. Not only that, I think the greatness of Shivananda Lahari also lies in bringing such a beautiful poetic dimension to the work. Shankaracharya has demonstrated that he is a great kavi also. We found different meters. Shardula Vikridam, we had this Shikarini. There are 15 syllable, 11 syllable, Nandini, so many of them. So he also has demonstrated his prowess as a great kavi also. So that is really the greatness of Shivananda Lahari. We have been immersing ourselves in the Shivananda Lahari. We have almost come to the end. There are just about 10 more shlokas to finish. In the last two shlokas, Natibihi, Nutibihi, Twamisha Puja Vidibihi, Dhyana Samadhibihi, Natushtaha. Acharya says, I am not very adept in all these. That's what in Devi Aparata Kshamapana Stotram also he says, Namantram no yantram tadapi na jano na jane na chakvanam dhyanam tadapi na jane param jane matas todanusharanam kleshaharanam. That's what he said even in Devi Aparata Kshamapana Stotram. So here also he says, I don't know how appropriately to do Nati, Namaskara, Nuti, Stotra, Puja Vidhi. Also, I do not know Dhyana, Samadhi. These are the 5 increasing stages of progressive and deep approach towards our Devata. That's what he's put it in that order. Simply is Namaskara. Then a little bit of Stotra, Nutibihi. Then to go one step further to do Puja. And then Vidhivat Puja. Puja is not simply doing puja according to prescribed vidhi. So then dhyana, little chitta ekagrata, then samadhi, go into deep contemplation. And so he says, I am not good in all these, but then people have beaten you with Dhanush, right? With the bow, or the Sakya Nayanar has thrown stones at you every day. Ashmi Bihiva, and you are greatly you did the angikara of all those. You are happy with all that. So why not tell me what should I do? I will also do that way. That's what we saw in that 89 sloka. And as a follow-up of that, Shankaracharya also said, Vachasa charitam vadami. I will at least recite your Shiva Purana Mahima. Or, Udyoga Vidasu te aprasakta hai. So I am not one of those great, I don't know the dexterity of doing, yoga, different ways of doing yoga. I am not, Manasa Akritim Ishwarasya Seve, but Manasa, I will commit my mind. I will involve myself totally in your seva. Maybe I, go to a Shiva temple, or when there is a Shiva puja happening, I will offer myself totally, kayena manasa vacha. I will offer my services. Let me do seva to you with that bhava. And Shirasa acha eva sadashivam namami. So I will offer dandavat pranamah. I will offer my namaskaras. Totally, I will surrender and then offer my namaskara. So all that he said, and we saw it in the last class. So as we see, as the Shivananda Lahari comes to a close, Acharya, if you look at that 85th sloka, 85, 86, talks about doing puja. Jaladi matana dakshaha naiva. I cannot, go to the patala, or I cannot go to top to see your shiras and the padara. Then katamahante kalpaniyam saparyam. How do I do puja? So, that's what he said in the 85th sloka. The second sloka also he said the same thing. Puja, Jaladi Matana Dakshaha, he says, I cannot do the churning of the ocean and then get that pushpa, parijata for you. Or I cannot go to the Patala and get you the special, money and ratna and all that. I cannot do all that. So how am I going to do my puja? That is what he said in the 85th sloka. In the 86th sloka, he said, Puja dravyam samruddhayaha virachitaha. I have somehow got all my puja samagri, but then I cannot see your shiras or your padara because I want to offer my flowers and all that to your shiras and your padara vinda. When Brahma and Vishnu cannot even see it, how am I going to see? How am I going to do the puja? Like that he said. So, as you see here, it is all, the tone is a concluding tone. See, before this, if you look at the shlokas, you say, take my manas is like a monkey, my manas is like a tent, my manas has all the, kind of ferocious animals in the form of indriyas. Why don't you come? You are Ati Kirata. So different shlokas in which you said you come and stay. Or then he said, Bhavatu Bhavatartam Mamana, Kamartam Dasyeham Bhavatu Bhavatartam Mamamana. Or he either said, I'll offer my manas to you. What else do I have? You have everything, but you may not have my manas. So like that it went on. But as you approach the end, what you see is it is all about offering puja. This 85 to 90 is all about how do I offer my puja? How do I commit myself in Shiva Dhyanam, in Shiva Chintanam? So that is how the shlokas are moving now in terms of how do I offer puja, what kind of services I can do so that I will be in Shiva Chintanam always. So these kinds of thoughts are all coming, and more or less as we end, there are a few slokas which says, how do I become Kritartha? How do I get benefited by all these Shiva Aradhanam? That is how Acharya is taking us further. So we will see a couple of shlokas today. Adya vidya hridgata nirgata sit vidya hridya hridgata twat prasadat seve nityam shikaram twat padabjam bhave mukte bhajanam rajamaule. See, this is another meter. This meter, I don't, Shalini, I don't know what is the name of this meter. Shalini, maybe. I think there are 11 syllables here. As you see here, there are 11 syllables. You see here. Adya, Vidya, Hrid, Ga, Ta, Nir, Ga, Ta, Sit. So there are 11 syllables here. But the way we recite is there is a pause at the end of 7 syllables. So it is 7 plus 4. Adya Vidya Hridgata. There is a pause. Nirgata Seet. Nirgata Seet. 4. So 7 plus 4. The way we recite it is, it's 11 syllable is a pada, but there is a pause at the end of the 7 syllables. Adya Vidya Hridgata Nirgata Seet. Vidya Hridya Hridgata Tvat Prasadat. Again, there is a 7 plus 4. Seve Nityam Shikaram Tvat Padabjam Bhave Bhakter Bhajanam Rajamaule. So you see, it's 11 syllables, 7 4 7 4. That is the way it is recited. Anyway. So, what is it saying? Adya, Avidya, Hridgata, Nirgata Sit. Vidya, Hridya, Hridgata, Tvat Prasadat. Seve Nityam Shikaram Tvat Padabjam Bhave Bhaktehe Bhajanam Raja Maule. So that is how this Padacheda is. So what he says, Adya Avidya. This avidya, which is beginningless, anadi. Brahman is also anadi. Brahman is also ananta. Whereas this avidya is not ananta. We can bring this avidya to an end. It is in our hands. That's why it is only adya, but not ananta. Adya avidya hridgata. This avidya has entered into my heart. See, what do you mean by entered into my heart? See, whatever we do in our life pursuits, whatever we do is what we are able to do because our mind, our antakarana particularly, see, hridaya means that is the seat of, you can say, the entire antakarana. Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, and Ahankar, all of them. Just to, give you a very simple example, let's say we are thirsty. And so what has happened? When it is thirsty, there is this signal that I am thirsty. And because I am thirsty, there is some control signal which gives the eyes to look for where the source of water is. Maybe it is in the fridge or it is just on the next room. You are able to see there is a water bottle there, etc. And then there is a control given to the two padas that you walk up to that place. Then you walk up to that place and there is a control which is given to the hand. And, the control is, why don't you pick up that bottle and then open the bottle and perhaps pour the water in a tumbler. Then there is a control given to the karmendriya called mukha, the mouth, to gulp the water. So all these, where do all these happen? All these happen because the entire antakarana is part of it. All the manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, no, even to recognize that there is a water bottle, you need chitta. because you should be able to understand that akriti that you see is actually in fact bottle, and that there is a water inside. All those is also matter of chitta. So manas, buddhi, chitta and ahankar, the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, all of them are in a way committed, instructed, executed by our epicenter, which can be roughly called it as hridaya. So when you say avidya, adya vidya hridgata, which means it is this avidya which has overtaken, which has driven every one of our choice. It has driven every one of what we do, in terms of what we prioritize in life, what we want to do, what we consider important, what we think is not important, how should I spend my time, should I actually do a stotra parayana or not, should I live a dharmic living or not. So everything is controlled from the heart, no? So if into that epicenter, if this avidya, which is adya, which is anadi, if that has entered, that has caused all the, this avidya can be call it as, apara vidya, vidya in the Upanishad in a different way it is coming. But avidya means our maya can be avidya, our, trigunas, they are all part of this avidya, our vasanas, our ajnana, right? Our karma, all of them can represent this avidya. And because they are there time immemorial, Janma after Janma, we are going through the process of, behaving, doing things and so on. So now Acharya says that avidya, which is adya, which is hridgata, which is squarely squatting in the epicenter of every one of us, which is called the hridaya, and that dictates every one of our activities and help, results in our accumulating our own karmas, etc., etc. Therefore, all these punarapi maranam, all those, that avidya nirgata sit. Nischayena gataha nirgataha. It has gone. It has just uh, that ignorance has been taken out, has been extinguished, or has been exhausted, or whichever way you want to say, nirgata sit. And why is he saying it is nirgata sit in 91st shloka? And he says, Tvat prasadat nirgata sit. It is only because of the Bhagavat prasada. And how did you get this prasada? The previous 90 shlokas, the way we do, Shiva Aradhana, the way we offer our manas to Ishvara, our Ishtadevata, the way we do dhyana, natihi, nutibihi, puja, vidibihi, dhyanaha, samadhihi, all these different things that he has spoken about in the 90 shlokas. If we are able to really do all that, Bhagavat Prasada will be ours. That Bhagavad Kripa Kataksha will fall on us. So Tvat Prasadat Nirgatasit. Okay. The Hridaya is emptied of these bad vasanas, bad thoughts, etc. Or samskara shuddhi has happened over a period of time. Okay. So what happened after that? Then in the second line he says, Vidya Hridya Hridgata. Now what has come in again Hridgata, he says. In the first line he said Avidya Hridgata. Now that is gone. Nirgata Sid. Once that has gone, what has come into the heart now? Vidya. Vidya Hridgata. Now this Vidya is Hridya. Hridya is one which is very acceptable to the heart, one which is very, very conducive to that, which means one which is pleasant, one which is Shubhakaram, Mangalakaram, one which is likely to do good to us. That kind of a Vidya, Hridgata, that has come in, Tat Prasadat. See, what happens, you may be in a source of darkness for any amount of time. One can be in a source of darkness for any amount of time. But once the light enters there, it doesn't matter how long that room was dark. You can't say if the room was 10 minutes dark, then little light is enough to, chase away the darkness. On the other hand, if the room was dark for a million years, it doesn't mean you need extraordinarily a strong source of light. It doesn't mean like that. It only means moment the light comes, the darkness goes, notwithstanding how long you have been suffering from darkness. In the same way, यद्यपि आद्य अविद्या निर्गता आसीत् हृद्गता आसीत् यदा तत् निर्गता आसीत् and when vidya had come, then it extinguishes everything. All the bad vasanas are gone, and Acharya says all that happens tvat prasadat, because of your prasada all that has happened. Then he says, Seve Nityam. I will do seva, Nityam. Nityam first of all means that which happens not temporarily, forever. It is not temporary that I will do it for a few days. After that, I don't anymore. No, it's not like that. It is forever. And Nityam probably also means perhaps every day, regularly, every day, etc. So, Nityam Seve. And what is it that you are doing seva for? Tvat Padabjam. Pada Abjam. Abja is lotus. Padabjam is Padaravindam. So, Tvat Padabjam is Tava Padaravindam. Tava Padaravindam Nityam Seve. Okay. And Hey Rajamoule. So here the adjective used is Rajamouli. Rajamoule. Now you may be wondering, why did he use this adjective here? We have been seeing in every shloka of Shivananda Lahari, Acharya has taken a unique adjective. That adjective is very contextual. We have been seeing that. Here he says Raja Maule. What is this Raja Maule? Mauli is, in the head. Raja Mauli. Rajate, Maule Rajate iti Rajamali. Rajate Maulo Yasya. It is actually Chandra. Rajamouli is Chandra. Now, why is he using that adjective here? Look at what happened to Chandra if you look at the Puranic story. Chandra was cursed there are few stories. Chandra was cursed for a few so-called impure acts which he did also. Of course, one popular thing which we know is he was close to Rohini, and therefore Daksha cursed him to wax, and lose all his Chandrakala. But then when he prayed to Shiva, then he started waxing and many these kinds of Puranic stories are there. But the point is, by using the word Rajamaule, Acharya is saying that even somebody who is Kalangitaha, to make him Nishkalanga, to make him pure, you put him on his head, put him on your head. So therefore, Adya Vidya Hridgata Nirgata Sit, Vidya Hridya Hridgata Tot Prasadat is very much is possible because you have that kind of an infinite compassion with which you will be able to address, even if we have a few impure thoughts in us, you will be able to address and then get rid of all of them. That's why he uses the word Rajamole here as an adjective. So he says, Seve Nityam, He Rajamole, Seve Nityam Tvatpadabjam, He Rajamole, I will do the seva of your Padara Vindam. And how is this Padara Vindam? Shrikaram. Your Padaravinda is capable of giving me the Shri. Shri here does not necessarily mean material richness, although in common parlance we may use like that. Shri here, the Shreyas that you get here is Param Shreyas. It can be that ultimate moksha samrajya also is can be also taken. So, Tvat Patabjam Shikaram Tvat Patabjam Nityam Seve, He Rajamaule. Bhave Bhakter Mukte Bhajanam. Why? Because with Bhava I will do, because that will get me mukti. That will indeed bestow me with moksha. So therefore, Bhave Mukte He Bhajanam Rajamaule. So that is what he is saying in this shloka. Adya Vidya Hridgata Nirgata Sit. Vidya Hridya Hridgata Tvatprasadat Seve Nityam Shikaram Tvatpadabjam Bhave Muktehe Bhajanam Rajamole. So he says, Hey Rajamola, Moli, by offering, by doing your seva to your Padaravinda with bhava. With bhava means with that attitude, with that feeling that I am doing. Even if you have a linga in the form of any object or a photo or a pata or a chitra or whatever, with bhava when I do that tat patajam nityam seve, it is muktehe bhajanam, it is shrikaram cha. That is what Acharya says in this shloka. So this Shrikaram, what kind of Shri we will be actually blessed with? So there is this Subhashita which nicely brings that. Arogyam Bhaskarat Ichet, Shriyam Ichet Hutashanat, Jnanam Ichet Maheshwarat, Moksham Ichet Janardhanat. So he says, Arogyam Ichet Bhaskarat. This Parabrahman, which is in the form of Bhaskara, the Surya Narayana, will give us Arogyam. That's why for Arogyam we can do the Parayana, the Stotra of Aditya. Even in look at it from a scientific perspective, if you have to be healthy, we need enough solar energy, we need enough sunshine. If sunshine is not there, imagine for 3 years, we all will fall sick actually. I mean, it doesn't generate enough heat. You have all kinds of problems. So even if you look at it from that perspective, Arogyam Bhaskarat Ichet. Shriyam Ichet Hutashanat. Hutashana is that, the altar, the fire in the altar. So when we want all material richness, we have to do Devan bhavayata anena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha sheyaha param avapsita. Like that, we take care of the devas by way of our yajna, and in turn we are bestowed with all material riches. That's why Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritujam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. That's what that first mantra of Rigveda also says. So Hutashana Siyam Ichet, Jnanam Ichet Maheshwarat. If you want the ultimate jnana, Maheshwara, that is this mm, 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 uh, the Shiva gives us jnanam, moksham ichet janardhanat. Our deep prayer to Narayana, Janardana, will give us moksham. So that's why they say prasadat, meaning what? Ishvara anugraha deva pumsam advaita vasana. That is what it is said. Even to get advaita vasana, you have you need Ishvara Anugraha. Ishvara Anugraha Deva Pumsam Advaita Vasana is what is being told. So the Tvat Prasadat can give us Arogyam, that Shikaram. All that you will get Tvat Prasadat can be Arogyam, it can be Shriyam, it can be Jnanam, it can be Moksham. And in order to get all that, it can be also Advaita Vasana. All those are possible. So that's what Acharya says. Adya Vidya Hridgata Nirgata Sit. Vidya Hridya Hridgata Tvat Prasadat. Seve Nityam Shikaram Tvat Padabjam. Bhave Bhakter Bhajanam Rajamaule. Then we will see the next shloka. दूरीकृतानि दुरितानि दुरक्षराणि दौर्भाग्यदुःखदुरहङ्कृति दुर्वचांसि सारं त्वदीयचरितं नितरां पिबन्तं गौरीशमामिह समुद्धरसत्कटाक्षैः दूरीकृतानि दुरितानि दुरक्षराणि दौर्भाग्य दुःख दुरहङ्कृतिर्दुर्वचांसि सारं त्वदीयचरितं नितरां पिबन्तं गौरीशमामिह समुद्धरक सत्कटाक्षैः दूरीकृतानि दुरितानि दुरक्षराणि दौर्भाग्य दुःख दुरहङ्कृतिः दुर्वचांसि सारं त्वदीयचरितं नितरां पिबन्तं गौरीश माम इह samuddhara satkatakshaih. So that's what Acharya says here. What does he say? Duri kritani, everything has been chased away. Duri kritam means taken away. Apakritam, taken away from me. Duri, so it is some kind of a palashruti is what we are actually seeing. Because of all these, what happens? Duri kritani, duritani, duritam. Duritam means papa. That's why when we do sankalpa, mamopata samasta duritakshaya dwara. That's what we say. The duritakshaya, papakshaya. So that's why we do that sankalpa. Mamopata samasta duritakshaya dwara. Sri Parameshwara, Sri Mahavishnu Prityartham, whichever way we want to say. That durita means papa. So he says, duri kritani, duritani. Okay. So all the papas have been taken away from me. Okay. Then duraksharani. What is this? Durakshara. Akshara means letters, no? So durakshara actually here means, durakshara means wrong letters or bad letters. Actually what it talks about is vidilipi. All, we tell in common parlance that, we say, this is what is written on my forehead, on my head. People say, when something bad happens, they say that this is what is written on my forehead. Brahma, one of the shlokas also we saw that, in one of the earlier shlokas we saw that you are able to even change the vidilipi. Like that in one of the shlokas, if you remember, we saw. But durakshara is all those written on my forehead, right? We use in our day-to-day life, we use different words to describe it. We say this is prarabdha. We say this is daivam. In English, we say fate. Okay. We say this is what is written on my forehead. All these are what is called durakshara. That it doesn't mean Brahma, on his own, if he is a good mood, he will write something good on your forehead. If he is in bad mood, he will write something terribly bad for you. No such things. He is endowed, he is entrusted with the job of keeping track of your Sanjita karmas and make sure that when we take a new Janma, a portion of that is taken out and we are sent into this mortal world to consume that. So to explain all that, we say Brahma has written. It is in a compact way we are saying like that. So it is a Sanketa. So, as somebody was saying, modern science also, in a way, has come to something closer. It says, what is this Durakshara? I have to suffer from a disease. I will have migraine headache. I will have, repeatedly, I will have an attack of, some people have a sinus problem, or some people suffer from asthma and bronchitis. All these are our prarabdha. So, all these are duraksharas, which are written on our forehead. In a way, that is why we come into this Janma and go through all of them. So, modern science also, uses the coins a different word for durakshara, and they call it as DNA. Today, they say whether you will lead a healthy life, whether you will be prone to an attack of certain kind of diseases, whether you will have repeatedly certain things, all those are because of your DNA. The only thing that modern science is saying, which we are not saying now, is in terms of using that to even modify the DNA or some such thing they are talking. But anyway, that part apart, every one of us have a durakshara. So Acharya says that duraksharas are also durikritam. Duritani are durikritam. Duraksharani, because of the duraksharas, you have duritas. Or, you can put it the other way also. Because you have accumulated so much of duritas, papa and karmas, the aksharas are written to be duraksharas. Both are related to one another, whichever way you want to look at it. So he says, Duri Kritani, they are all kept away. They are all away from me. Why? Because I am in Shiva Chintanam. I do Shiva Puja, Manasa, Vacha, all that I am doing. I have offered my Manas to Parameshwara, as he said in the previous shlokas. Then, Daurbhagya. It is not Bhagya, Daurbhagya or Durbhagya Bhava hai, Daurbhagya hai. It's some kind of a Taddita. Daurbhagya Dukkha Durahankritihi. So the Daurbhagya which results in Dukkha, right? All those Duri Kritani. So now people may ask, how is it possible? Because somehow we are told, and in our scriptures also say that very clearly, that our karmas cannot be exhausted, cannot be discounted. The only thing that can happen is one does jnana sampadanam, when one gets in the jnana finally, the sanchita karma and the agami karma may go, but prarabdha karma will still remain. One has to go through that karma. So now what do you mean by duraksharani, duritani, durikritani? What does it mean? So are you telling me all those will go? No. So we can understand it two ways. First of uh, all because of jnana sampadanam, the sanchita karmas will go, the agami karmas will go. Okay. Now what will happen to prarabdha karmas? The prarabdha karmas, we may suffer, but the because of the Ishvara Anugraha, because of Bhagavad Prasada, we will be able to handle it in a way it doesn't create such a trouble for us. So that may happen. Just to tell you an example, you can walk on the road without a chappal. Now, when you walk on the road without a chappal, some glass pieces can, prick your padas. It can tear your pada, you can even get into it, septic, all that can happen, or a thorn or a stone, sharp stone can hit you, all that can happen. So those stones, those glass pieces and the thorn are there on the road. You're going to take it out. There is no way it is going to be taken out. But what you can do, you can wear a chapel. When you wear a chapel, when you step on the same thing and then you walk, it doesn't hurt you. Correct? Either it pricks and then gets stuck on the chapel itself, or it doesn't even do that. Something can happen. The point is, it doesn't hurt you. In the same way, all these prarabdha karmas are like this stone and glass pieces and all that stuff. They are like those things lying on the road, and this chapel is like the Bhagavad Kataksha, the prasada. So when that happens, it becomes Duri Kritani, Duritani, Duri Kritani, Duraksharani. So our Sanchita karmas may go, our agami karmas will also go, and we may be in a better position to even handle our own prarabdha karmas. So all these are possible because of Bhagavad Prasada. So that is what it means to say Duri Kritani Duritani Duraksharani. Daurbagya Dukkha. So all those, because of all these durakshara, we get all kinds of dukkha, the durbhagya. It is not a blessing; it is distress. All that, and all that can also go, is what he is saying. Then he says, Durahankrutihi, Durvachamsi. See, ahankara itself is bad. The ahankara, our scriptures saying that the ahankara is this ego, the sense of too much of ego can be a source of problem for us. But then think of durahankara. The ahankara itself sometimes may be of reasonable use for us. Sometimes to do a few things we may need ahankar. But then durahankara. Durahankara is actually ahankara at its worst, committed to a very bad application. For instance, when people are a little learned, they develop a certain sense of ego. Even with a little vidya dadati vinayam, we say, but for many people, vidya may not give vinaya. So there is durahankara, that there is this feeling that I know everything, I am a very learned person, therefore I would become less courteous to people, I will be very blunt, etc. All those are because of durahankara. So, on account of all these durahankara, durvachamsi, we may be the way we speak, the way the vachana, the words that we speak may be parusham. Okay, parusha. It will be very hard. It will be very sort of incalibrated. All that can happen because of durahankara. So durahankritihi durvachamsi tatapi durikritani. That durikritani you can use for all of them. Duritani durikritani, duraksharani durikritani, daurbagya dukkha durahankritihi durikritani, durvachamsi durikritani. All these are all gone, which means because of my Shiva Chintanam, because of my Shiva Aradhana, what has happened is there is a samskara shuddhi which has happened. Now, after all that, what has happened? Samskara shuddhi has happened. Then what am I doing now? Because all these, my chitta shuddhi has happened. So, what am I doing now? He says, Tvadiya charitam, your charita. Charita is your greatness, your vibhuti, your purana, your mahima, all that. Saram, the juice, the essence. Sara means, in Tamil they say rasam, no? In Kannada they say Sara. I mean, that is really the essence. The essence of Shiva Mahima. the essence of Shiva Charita, Shiva Purana, Shiva Bhubhuti, that nectar, that rasa, nitaram pibantam. Forever I consume only that sara now because my uh, uh, samskara shuddhi has happened. Therefore, I will only be consuming these Shiva Mahima, Shiva Purana, Shiva Charita, etc. Nitaram pibantam mam. Mam is in the fourth line. Okay. Todhiya charitam saram nitaram pibantam mam. Iha, now. Iha means now and here. Iha essentially means now and here. Now and here, samuddhara, samyag uddhara, samichinataya uddhara. Well, you lift me. Uddhara means what? Uddhara from what? Uddhara from, lift from what? From this samsara. That's why in Lalita Sahasranama it says, samsara panga nirmagna samudharana pandita. That is the nama there for Devi. Samsara panga, this swamp, this swampy structure called samsara. Why is it swampy? Because if you get into a swamp, it will keep on, it will suck you inside. There is no way, there will be no resistance, there is no hard substance. Unwittingly, if you get into a swamp, we will just submerge because it will just pull you down. It's all soft and moist and so on, no? So our samsara is like that. Samsara panga nirmagna. Nirmagna means well immersed, deeply immersed. We are into the thick of samsara. Samsara panga nirmagna samudharana pandita, who is an expert in lifting me well out of this samsara. That samudhara is the word coming here. There, moment these words came, I remembered Lalita Sahasranama. That's why I said Samsara Panga Nirmagna Samudharana Pandita. So Shiva is also Samudharana Pandita. So he says Samudhara. How do you lift me out of this, samsara sagara, samsara panga? Sat katakshayihi. With your kataksha, sat kataksha. With your anugraha prasada, with your kripa kataksha, you lift me out of this samsara panga. So he says, Mam iha samuddara. Because there is a samskara suddhi I have, there is a vasana suddhi that has happened, and I am now nitaram pibantam todiya charitam saram mam. Iha, now and here, you lift me from this samsara panga, samsara samuddhara satkatakshayihi. With your kripa kataksha, you just lift me out of this. Hey Gaurisha. So here he uses a uh, uh, adjective Gaurisha. Gauryaha ishaha, Gaurya saha asti. So when you say Gaurisha, our thought goes to Parvati Parameshwara. And now why Acharya is using this? See, this Kataksha Vyapara, the Kataksha, the ladies have a much greater Karunya Bhava. So their Karunya Kataksha is even more stronger. So that's why Sat Katakshahi, when he uses the word Sat Katakshahi, Acharya uses the uh, adjective of Gaurisha for Ishvara, because he says, I want you along with Parvati. As Parvati Parameshwara, you come and you both offer your Kripa Kataksha. I know that Devi's Kataksha has a lot of power and strength and compassion, and therefore he uses the word Gaurisha. दूरीकृतानि दुरितानि दुरक्षराणि दौर्भाग्य दुःखरहङ्कृति दुर्वचांसि सारं त्वदीयचरितं नितरां पिबन्तं गौरीशमामिह समुद्र सत्कटाक्षैः. See this durvachamsi, you just see here, duraham kritihi durvachamsi. They both are put one behind the other. I want you to think about this. When somebody has an ahankara itself, the vacha will become durvacha. And if it is durahankara, and ahankara for a wrong reason, ahankara very wrongly, misappropriately placed and deployed, then it becomes durvacha. No, what? How come it manifests? How does it manifest? I don't know whether you have noticed. People we have too much of ahankara are those who are also too much. They have too much of anger. The anger is a expression of the strength of their ahankar. The more they have ahankar, the greater will be the intensity of the anger. You can always notice that. So if somebody is very angry, gets very angry, and the intensity of anger is too much, such person essentially it only shows they have a lot of ahankar. And when somebody is in great ahankar, which leads to great intensive anger, then the vachas will always become durvachas. They talk very, very inappropriately. That's why, I'm reminded of this, in Ramayana, when Hanuman, after seeing Sita Mata, then he went to Ravana's court, all that happened. When his tail was, they put the old cloth and then they lit fire on the tail. And Hanuman went throughout Lanka and then lit the whole city. Then in the 53rd Sarga, 55th Sarga, I think, of uh, Ramayana, then he says that, oh, what did I do? I burnt Sita Mata also in the whole process of my, in the fist of anger, in the rage of my anger, I have done something which is inappropriate. That's what happens. Durahankritihi durvachamsi. So I'll show a couple of shlokas. So this uh, Duraksharani, the Vidilipi cannot be taken out by anyone. Hari napi hare napi brahmanapi surairapi lalata likita reka parimarshtum na shakyate. That's why I said Hari or Hara or Brahma or Suras. Nobody can remove that lipi written on your forehead. Lalata likita reka parimarshtum na shakyate. Then, what do you mean by Duritani Duraksharani? As I told you, that it will be the whole thing that we go through because of our Durakshara in this Janma, after Sampadana, Jnana Sampadana, the Devata will make it easy for us to, go through those things that are unfolding in our life. Okay, so I am reminded of this Sundarakandam, these slokas. Danyaste purusas sreshtaha ye buddhya kopamuttitam nirudnanti mahatmanah deeptamagnimivambasa. Danyaha te purusas sreshtaha. Those are indeed danyaha and they are great. Sreshtas among purushas. Who? Ye buddhya kopam uttitam. When anger comes, we all get anger. But our sad buddhi must come in and nirudnanti. You should immediately put off that kopam because when the anger goes out of control, we talk all kinds of wrong things. So, Deeptam Agnim Ivambasa, just like one actually put off a flame by water and immediately put off the flame, in the same way, great people immediately they use their sad buddhi when anger comes. Anger is indriya janakaha vishayaha. So when the anger comes, can you use your buddhi and immediately put it off? Such people are great, Hanuman says. Otherwise, durahankritihi durvachamsi only will happen. क्रुद्धः पापं न कुर्यात् कः क्रुद्धो हन्यात् गुरूनपि क्रुद्धपरुषया वाचा नरः साधून् अधिक्षिपेत्. Why? Because क्रुद्धः पापं न कुर्यात्. Will he not engage? A person in anger will not commit all kinds of sins. Kaha kruddha kanyan hanyat gurunapi. Some people who are in the rage of their anger, can they even kill their own guru also? Kruddha parushaya vacha durvachamsi. That's what it is. Kruddha parushaya vacha with hard words, words which are very hurting. Naras sadhun adikshiped. Well cultured, good people can be actually put off by inappropriately talking very wrong things. Adikshiped, they throw such words at them. They, do all that. They may actually, so that is why Acharya says that Durahankriti Durvachamsi, that's the word he is using. So Hanuman recollects this. He says anger is very, very bad. In anger, you can do anything. And I must tell you, anger is very closely related to ahankar. That is why, you see, A leads to B, B leads to C here. You have too much of ahankar. The too much of ahankar puts you into anger quite often, easily. And once you are in the rage of your anger, you will end up in durvachamsi. So that's why Acharya uses the word durahankritir durvachamsi. Okay, with this, we will bring today's class. Duri kritani duritani duraksharaani daurбhagya dukkha durahankritir durvachamsi saram todiya charitam nitaram pibantam gauri shamamiha samuddara satkatakshahi. So, Gaurisha, you protect me. So, that is what he says. So, this is some kind of Palashruti. Last two shlokas are like that. Because I have been praying you, all these are happening to me. So, Acharya is in a mood of bringing it to a closure, as there are only, 8 more shlokas for us to finish this great work of Shankaracharya. With this, we'll close it and then we will continue next week. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, we'll meet next week. Thank you.